Hello, everyone. I thought it was just appropriate at this moment in time to answer some questions that had been sent to fill you in on my career in the dancing world. So, when did I start? I started when I was 8 years old, actually, for something to do. We moved to a new area and we didn't know anyone. So my mother actually suggested that it would be a good idea during the summer holidays to go to dance classes. So that's what I did. I went to the local dance school, which then was called Warren Brown and Aileen Turner. And I started on a Saturday morning class. In that class, I used to learn very quickly what the teacher was asking for, so that I would be chosen. Even at that young age, I wanted to be the one that was chosen to show the rest of the pupils. I learned it very quickly, and indeed the teacher used to always pull me out to show what I could do. So that was how I started. And for sure, the dancing probably changed my life. From being 8, it got me out and put me at the front, in front of people. Maybe I was already confident, maybe I was already competitive and didn't really know it, but it certainly brought the confidence, the ability of using the dancing to not be afraid, to put myself in front of people and allow myself to be judged. Realizing at even that young age that I had the ability to move people. So from the Saturday morning class, I then went into the competition class, and then I was lucky to get the chance for partnership as an all-girl partnership. So I danced with that all-girl till I was about, I would say, just in the beginning part of 15. And I had the opportunity to dance with a young man called Paul Kearney, who was at the school of Harry Rollins, the dance school where Donnie Burns and Stephen Hanna came from. And I danced with him, and I was lucky enough to be successful to become the Latin American Scottish champion, the ballroom Scottish champion, and the Scottish 10 dance champion. I then went on from that partnership to a gentleman called Graham Love, where I was then introduced to travelling up and down to England, where I met Paul Beaton. And that partnership was relatively successful. And during that partnership, my mother bought me my first, if you like, professional Latin dress, because I was very, very lucky. My mum used to make all my dance dresses. And I remember she made one that was gold and red and in the shape of a heart, the one that I wore on Come Dancing. And I danced to Feelings for the rumba. That was a great memory. And I went to Paul Beaton, and then that partnership stopped, and I moved on to another partnership where I danced with a gentleman called Kevin Rockcliffe. He went to the dance school of Sammy Stopford. So when I was, I reckon, 19, was my first meeting with Sammy Stopford. I'll never forget that first lesson. I don't know why, but I cried. Not because he was mean to me, but because I was overcome with the emotion. I just knew that this was the big time. So I moved from Scotland to Manchester to study with Kevin under Sammy Stopford. Sadly, that partnership ceased, and Sammy helped me in many ways find a place to live, keep me strong, be positive. He taught me many things, not just dancing. I then danced with another gentleman called Stephen McFerrin. We decided to do our own training. We didn't actually have a bass teacher. But sadly, that partnership stopped. And then I danced with a gentleman called Alan Winter, who was under the training of Paul Beaton. So I went back to Paul Beaton. And I was traveling from Manchester to Leeds to dance 3 times a week, plus competitions. Plus doing a full-time job, living in Manchester. It was a full-on commitment. Anyway, one day in my office, I got a phone call from Sammy Stopford, who then wanted to meet me for lunch to discuss something very important. It was to explain to me that his partnership with Shirley was finishing, and he wanted to know if I would be his new dance partner. Well, you could have pushed me over and I would have fallen to the floor. It was such a compliment. It was quite a shock. It was a surprise. I didn't believe it at first, but it was true. He wanted me to be his dance partner. So, of course, another chance in my career of dance, and I took it. And the practice, the work was intense. What I had to learn, and as an amateur, I thought I knew everything, but I realized that, wow, there was so much to learn, and there was so much that I didn't know, but it never put me off. It was 16 weeks of hard work, where our first competition was then Blackpool, and we were so successful. I remember the chanting from the audience, the rivalry with Donnie and Sammy. Oh, it was just fantastic. The most wonderful experience, stepping onto the floor, everyone watching me to see who this Barbara McColl was, and we were very successful. We were second in that competition, missing first place by 1 mark. So that was a great event. And I can still remember our number was 44. So that's how I got to be where I am today. So looking back from where I sit today, I remember at the age of 13 when I was choosing my subjects at school, I said to my parents, no matter what I do, I have to be able to add up, count, know where I'm going in the world, have a language, be able to type, be able to take a job up anywhere. And they kind of looked at me, not understanding. And I said, I'm going to travel the world with my dancing. I said that at 13 years of age. Also at 13 years of age, I remember looking at the professional champions of that day take the Blackpool floor on the professional Latin night. And I said to myself, I can do this. I'm going to be in that final one day. And of course, luck, being in the right place at the right time, I was in that final 9 years later when I was 22, partnered to Sammy. So what has dancing done for me? Dancing has given me something to belong to, something to understand, a subject and a skill where there seems to be no end. A subject, a skill that keeps as I was saying, dancing has given me something to constantly motivate me, constantly inspire me through my own learning, having the ability now to teach many, many wonderful, wonderful dancers. So I believe that dancing has been part of what makes me who I am. Through the dancing, I have developed, improved my life skills. I am not just a dance teacher to many people. I also help people with their life problems. So in a way, I've developed, I've learned how to be a listener. I have learned how to try and unravel some people's psychological problems, and really taught me many things that have carried me through my life. So, wow, during this wonderful career, what have the magical moments been? Well, to be honest with you, so many. Taking the floor for the first time with Sammy at Blackpool, to have everyone in the ballroom looking at me. Who is she? Who is Barbara McColl? Unbelievable moment in time. To dance a basic rumba at Blackpool, to hear the roar, the stamping of feet, not being able to continue with the next dance because the audience were just going wild for this basic rumba. Fabulous, fabulous feeling. To go out on Blackpool floor in a simple black dress with suspenders, and to do 16 bars of spins at the beginning of the cha-cha-cha, and hear and see the reaction of people when they notice, as I'm spinning, they see that I'm wearing stockings and suspenders. By the way, the suspenders were full of rhinestones. Amazing thrill. To walk down the stairs of the United Kingdom Championships, never knowing what was going to happen, never knowing what Sammy was going to ask of me, never knowing any of his ideas, just reacting to everything and all that was suggested or asked of me. One of the times I remember we were dancing the cha-cha-cha introduction on the United Kingdom Championships floor in Bournemouth. And at that time, the presenter of that event was Angela Rippon. And Sammy just said to me, keep dancing. So I did. And he pulled Angela up. Next minute, the three of us were dancing. No rehearsals, nothing planned. Sensational. Then, another year, just before we were being introduced, Sammy said, just go down the stairs, head right to Donny. Head right to Donny Burns. Okay, off I went. I had no idea why I was heading to Donny Burns. Donny Burns didn't know why I was heading, but everybody just reacted. And then Sammy coming down the stairs wearing a bandana, and all of us making it up as we went along. Oh my goodness, the thrill. It still excites me now. More memorable events. Oh yes, when Sammy said at the Royal Albert Hall, I think you're going to start the rumba on the stage. Okay, all right. I didn't think, what am I going to do? I didn't I didn't ask what, I didn't ask anything. I just, okay. Off I went onto the stage. The rumba of our heat started, and I just started to do rumba walks down the stairs and across the floor. And somehow, somewhere, Sammy met me and we started to dance the rumba. This was in the competition of the International Dance Championships. Many of the different events in America, the United States, Ballroom Dance Championships, great entries of team matches, dancing for the first time in Madison Square Gardens. All thrilling memories. Going on my very first trip with Sammy, being educated that what you bring, you carry. Oh my goodness, I didn't know how to pack. I'd never been away for 4 weeks. That was an experience. I took too much. I learned how to pack for these long trips. Dancing in Cherry Hill in New Jersey. No one knew who I was. It was a huge event. Amazing. Learning how to lecture. Learning how to talk to people. Learning even to hear my own voice when I first started to teach. And I remember my first ever trip to America as Sammy's partner. I met a wonderful man called Nelson. We stayed with him, and Sammy had to go off and do the work. Obviously, I had no work because no one knew who I was. He got me a few lessons, and from that, I then was educated on what to wear to events. We went shopping. I was given a whole new hairstyle. I felt as if I was made into the person that I was going to become. All fabulous memories. So many of them stand out. I don't think any one win was any more important than the rest. But of course, I suppose secretly, I wanted to win everything that Sammy had already previously won. And I remember that the last event that I had to win was the European Championship, because I had successfully won everything that he had won before with his previous partner, Shirley. So for me, that was probably a great achievement, winning everything that he had already won. And not just winning them once or twice, very, very, very lucky that we won many of these events numerous times. So very lucky. And I don't think any one of them stand out more than the other. Every single win was important. Having said that, even when we lost, that was also important, because you learned that to be a great champion, you have to understand how to lose, how to pick yourself up. It's a little bit like boxing. It's not the knockdown, it's getting up afterwards. It's having the strength, the belief to get up afterwards, to keep going on, to just keep going, never giving up. I think the role of a woman in the dance partnership is to know and understand when it's important to speak. Now, I'm not saying that you're subservient, but you have to understand the way a man thinks to then understand what's appropriate for you to say and do. I had that ability, but I also had a great, great man. I still have. He believed in me. I, without doubt, believe in him. So I think the trust between the couple is very, very important. I never felt attacked personally when there was criticism given. I didn't need compliments either. I think the fact that there was no criticism given meant that that was a compliment. So knowing your own strengths, knowing your weaknesses is all part of what a woman is, but I think that's all part of what a person is, knowing your own strengths and your own weaknesses, and knowing your boundaries, even being able to go outside your boundaries. All these things are important. A woman in a partnership is not just a follower. She's also a leader. She for sure has to be on a confidence, a self-confidence, a self-belief, without doubt. That's the woman's role. And there are many roles, but I think that's very important. I'm not sure that I have a favourite dance, but definitely when I was dancing, the rumba was our dance, for sure. Followed very closely by the jive, followed very closely by the cha-cha and samba. Having the legs that I was born with, I think that maybe gave me the appearance of this rumba dancer, because I had these hyperextended legs, which used correctly gave wonderful movement across the floor. I had to learn how to move, and even now I'm learning more and more about each dance through my teaching and through my own education. Still trying to educate myself. Do I miss the competitive life? No. Because I didn't retire with any regrets. And I still have the competitive life. We run competitions. We have the WDC Amateur League where we have our own competition in this year in Berlin. I live through the competitions with the couples. I attend all the competitions in the world. I don't miss anything because I'm still very much part of it. I get to judge all these events. There's nothing to miss because I'm still very much part of it. When you're judging, you don't really go out with any preconceived plan or idea. It could be something that catches your eye. Do you look at the man? Do you look at the lady? We're looking at the couple. It's couple dancing. That's not to say that a lady might not catch your eye or a man might not catch your eye. But really, you're out there, first of all, to collect the numbers. Through your skill, your eyes work very, very quickly, almost like a scanning machine across the floor. It's not just what you like. It's what it maybe is not acceptable. Maybe problems in the couple. Maybe things don't move with ease. There's many, many different levels of judging, and that subject is very vast. How should a couple practice? Every couple is individual. With positivity, for sure. Respect between each other. You might, in one half of the partnership, you might need more practice than the other half. So you've got to do your work. You've got to be switched on, alert, and proactive in your practice. And try not to do things so much that you practice out the spontaneity. Remember, sparkle, razzmatazz. we say practice makes perfect, but also too much practice can take out the sparkle from your performance. So there are so many different ways for a couple to practice. So for me to say, this is the way, I think that would be wrong, because it might not be the right way for you. Young dancers of today, you are doing a fantastic job. I think to learn the history of your subject, I think to learn as much as you can and to put it into practice, positive practice. Never underestimate your own mind and how deep it can go into finding out the answers without necessarily waiting to be told everything. Self-development, self-motivation. And of course, we're in a situation today where we are all at home due to the virus. We can't see each other. Necessarily, we can't get into studios to practice. But we're all still a big family. And just like I did, keep going forward. Because there will be a cure for this virus. And your job is to make sure when the competitions start to go again, be ready. Be ready to take that floor and appreciate even more what we have in our dance industry. But not just that, to appreciate even more life itself. To take each day and use it to the best of your advantage. To do as much as you can in a day, never putting off to tomorrow what you can do today. Respecting yourself, loving yourself, believing in yourself. We are all a dance family, all around the world. So many different countries, so many different nations. Going forward from here, we only need to unite. In the world of today, we're fighting the virus. Be kind to each other. And we will be back on that dance floor, for sure. And many of you out there will become champions. And there are endless possibilities that you can do with your dancing. Endless possibilities. And if you have half as good a career and half as good a life as I have had and still having, then that's fantastic. Good luck to you all. Stay healthy. And we'll see you all on the dance floor. Best wishes.